There are a lot of guys out there that are free agent bats that could help offensively. The Yankees are going to need that. They're missing that left-handed power swing. Beltran would seem to be the easy choice. But, Flash, as we look at some of the other guys, there are still the Encarnaciones, the Bautistas, at a lot higher price tag probably, but there are some hitters out there.
You know, there are some hitters that are going to command long-term contracts. Cespedes, obviously, one of those guys. The name that I like is Mike Napoli. You know, we talked about, or going to be talking about later on, first base and the options at first base. Napoli would give the Yankees some insurance at first, right-handed power, driving the ball to right center field, and probably would not command a long-term contract. But Carlos Beltran would be the perfect guy. The Yankees know exactly what he's about, what he could do, and maybe a 1 or maybe 2-year deal, he'd be a perfect fit.
To me, that's a question. How far do you want to go? His last deal was 3 years, $15 million a year. Do you have to give him an extra year? That's probably the hook for them.
All right, when you go back to that negotiation, the Yankees really were looking to stop at 2 years, and Beltran wanted that 3rd year. As exciting as some of those names were on that list, I think both of you guys hit on what this is going to be about. This is going to be about the length of the contract more than it is going to be about those big names. We're going to hear from Hal Steinbrenner later, and he's talking about the youth of this team and how the Yankees want to get younger. They are not going to want to be saddled with a 4 or a 5-year deal. Somebody like Encarnacion, who wouldn't want Edwin Encarnacion? But are you ready to give him 5 years, $125 million? The Yankees aren't. Brian Cashman is doing the smart thing. He and his front office are engaging with some of these free agents and these players just in case one of those guys falls back. Say one of those guys is suddenly available on a 2-year deal or a 3-year deal. Would you push it then? That's what makes the offseason fun.
If the numbers get up too high, too, don't you look at it and have to say, okay, we want to allocate this much money to this person, and doesn't that person, in this case, become Aroldis Chapman?
Well, I think it does. I mean, you know, the Yankees, again, like Carlos Beltran, they know what Chapman is about. They know his personality. They know he can handle New York, and he loved it here. So the problem is he's going to command big money from a lot of different clubs. You also throw into this that Dellin Betances kind of stumbled coming down the finish line. If you have Chapman protecting him, you have a young rotation. He seems to be the perfect fit for the back end of that bullpen. But again, finances are going to come into this, Jack. Are you going to go 5 years for a closer who's maybe going to give you 60 innings at huge money? I mean, there's got to be a ceiling onto how far the Yankees will go with him.
I think the Yankees are very interested in him. Those stats there will show you why. I hate to read too much into one interview that happened several months ago, but I remember when this guy got traded, he stood in front of his locker and said, yes, I would like to come back to New York. He did an interview recently with New York Sports Day where he said again that the Yankees are a place where he would like to call home, but he's only calling them home if the numbers are right. And John put a couple of numbers together that should make any team cringe. 60 innings might be worth $20 million a year. Are you ready to go there? I don't think the Yankees are going that high. I think Cashman and the front office are going to decide on a number. They're going to present that to Chapman, and then that's as high as they're going to go. The Melancons are out there. The Jansons are out there. Chapman is the one you want to get, but at a certain point, the number is going to be too high.
I wonder if they push a little higher, though, only for this reason. Hal Steinbrenner said we got to fortify that bullpen like it was last year, and he knows that starting pitching still a little shaky.
Well, I think all of baseball, and we've seen it in the playoffs, it's become a bullpen game now, and everybody would love to have Chapman. Maybe give him a little more money, not as much. I don't know how they handle this, but the Yankees will strengthen their bullpen, whether it's with Chapman or some other guys at the back end. Again, I go back to Dellin Betances and a lot of the names in the bullpen. You love what they can do. Tyler Clippard did a good job. It's a strength already, but I think the Yankees are definitely going to add on top of it.
Spoke to someone today who has had conversations with Chapman in the last week, and I said, where do you think his head is at? What do you think the number would be? This guy laid it out as he thinks 5 years, $85 million could get it done. So I look at both of you guys and say, would you do that? Because I think if you're already thinking 15 or 16 a year, I think 5 for 85, you bite down hard and you say yes.
Well, Flash, you've mentioned this before. They feel they're pretty close. Wouldn't you want him for 5 more years as your closer?
Yeah, I think the Yankees realistically would love to win next year. They're going to say all the right things, but I think realistically they're looking to the year after. And if you have Chapman for the next 4, then that might be an attractive opportunity.